when you guys hear that music, you know what time it is. We are live in effect, you guys. This is the Locker Room Show, and it's about to go down because this is where we bring the football industry together. We bring in some of the best in the industry to share their stories, to give advice to you young student athletes out there, you parents, you players that want to get after this football entertainment industry. So tonight is no different, you guys. I know you got football on the tube, but you are in the place to be because we got an amazing guest tonight. But first and foremost, I'm going to introduce my boy, the one that holds me down every single Thursday in the locker room. That is none other than Q, the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
Oh, man, I'm on these fruit snacks, man. I'm ready to go, man. We missed last week. We back in effect. Got a lot to talk about. So, man, break the huddle, man. Let's get it going.
There you go. There you go. He's back. We were back. We were off last week. I was at my alma mater, University of Colorado, bunch of festivities, but we are back, and Q got his fruit snack, so you know it's official. And then we got the gentleman of the hour, the one that you see in the middle of the screen, straight baller, you guys, out of the West Coast. He went on to be a big-time player at the University of Hawaii, also has some professional experience we're going to get into, and now is helping the next generation get their DB skills right, and that is none other than Dee Maggit. How's it going, Playmaker?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
No doubt, no doubt. Now, people are probably thinking, man, you're in the States right now, but you're doing us a favor. You're not even in the country. Why don't you tell everybody where you're at?
Oh man, I'm always traveling. Right now, I'm back in Japan, doing a little coaching. So I've been coaching international. I've been coaching internationally, so I'm back and forth between countries right now.
That's what's up. That's dope.
I love it.
So, what time is it over there? What time is it out there then?
Is it like 11:30? No, it's only 11:30. So I'm early. So this is the perfect time for me, actually.
Okay, got you. Okay. That's crazy.
Nice. So, hey, a lot of you guys don't know how far football can take you. And this man has got him in Japan right now. So, once again, let's get started. We have a playmaker with us. This is somebody that did big things, you guys, at Hawaii. A lot of the young athletes that I talk to nowadays are asking about what it's like to play on the big island. We're going to get that information firsthand here. A lot of you guys would love that Hawaii scholarship. And this is a young man that did it and did it on a big level. And we definitely want to get into his experience. So let's get into it, you guys. The first question, and for those that are joining us for the first time, please like and subscribe. But right there at the bottom ticker is all of our topics for tonight. So you guys can follow along with us. And that's what we'll be covering. But I wanted to ask you, Dee, because from Washington to Hawaii, man, that's a big time decision. We had a young man go from Florida to Hawaii, but some of these kids right now are getting close to the early and regular signing period where they're going to make that decision. Some of the parents are a little nervous about how far their kids should go. In your opinion, man, what made it okay for you to go that far?
I think it depends on your environment, like the environment you come from. So for me personally, the schools that were in the state, they either weren't recruiting me or I felt like I would be around a group of people that probably wouldn't be the best for my athletic career. So for me, I wanted to get as far away from my environment as possible to kind of force me to focus and keep the main thing.
Did you ever experience homesickness, or were you good to go from the beginning?
Oh no, you definitely experience homesickness. The car ride to the airport, I was like, oh man, what am I doing? Like this is actually real. I'm about to hop on a plane and really just start my life brand new. So it was tough, but again, I knew that that's what I wanted, and in order for me to get the best out of myself. And just a little backstory, there's a lot of people that I knew that would get in trouble on their way on like winter breaks or like breaks away from college. They'll go home, get with their people who are probably now in a gang or probably now, doing things that aren't the best for you. So those things motivated me to just, put myself literally on an island where I'm forced to adapt to a whole new world.
Wow, that's an amazing story right there, man. And obviously, it's not for everybody, right?
Mhm.
And let me ask you, Q. I mean, you went from St. Louis to Kansas, not too far, but you are a parent. As a parent, do you think you'd get a little nervous if your kid wanted to go to Hawaii?
I mean, no, I wouldn't get nervous. I mean, that's a shot now. That would be hard. I mean, that was something that, I think a lot of kids think about, upon recruiting processes, are my folks going to be able to, come see me play live? And I mean, no, man, that's going to be a major factor. I know it was with me. It was other schools like I was interested, in Washington, possibly balling for the Huskies. But again, you talking about, Tacoma, Seattle up around and there all the way to the Midwest was a shot. So that's what, one of the main reasons what really deterred me, from going way out that way. So it definitely you have to make sure that it's really, really a good fit for you.
No, that's a great point because some of you guys do lean on that family support, you guys.
Yeah.
So you may want to stay a little closer. But I was ready to get out the States as well. I see that some of our people are already joining us. I've got my mother-in-law stopping by. She's back in Denver. She says checking in from Denver. We've got the great Rick De Jesus. His son is right there in the Mountain West Conference. UNLV ripping it up, leading the country, I
Killing.
think, right
Yeah.
now in punt returns. And then we got J Rock says, I'm a little tipsy, but I'm checking in from Vegas, ready to go. That's all good, Jay. So we rocking and rolling in the locker room. We got the great Dee Maggit with us. And we're on to our next topic, you guys. And this one is a good one because both of these gentlemen have played a little professional ball. All three of us, actually. And sometimes, we're not bona fide superstars, 2%ers. Sometimes you got to wait by the phone, you guys. You got to wait by the phone. So I wanted to talk to you, Dee, because you were fortunate enough to play in the Indoor Football League. Now you've been overseas, man. How difficult was it for you to wait for that next opportunity after you left Hawaii? Was there any tips or advice maybe you could give to the next man waiting by the phone?
I think once college ball's done and you realize, oh man, I didn't make it, you really have to find it in yourself. Do you really want to continue to chase this? Because getting through the back door professionally is a lot harder than I think getting any type of scholarship. So in your mind, you gotta think about if this is what you want to do, and then you got to continue to just stay ready. That's that's the easiest thing I can say. Stay ready with your speed, stay ready with your weight, because when you get that call, they're not going to care that you've been depressed. They're not going to care that you've been working. They really don't care. You're in a list of hundreds of people, and you just so happen to get the call. So I actually had an experience with that. I got a tryout with the XFL, and I wasn't training. I had no idea that they even still knew who I was. A coach kind of saw me somewhere on Instagram and saw that I was kind of in shape, put my name in for something, and now I'm getting a try with the XFL. Wasn't training, wasn't running, and they didn't care. So all I can say is that you have to stay in shape. No matter how you're feeling, no matter what you're going through, no matter what your life is like outside of ball. Staying ready is the hardest part because staying ready might mean a month. Staying ready might mean 2 years. For me, staying ready was 5 years. So 5 years after I was done with college is when I got my call. So
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the toughest part is because you really don't know where it's going to come from, when it's going to happen. So if you got to stay ready for 5+ years, then that's what you have to do.
Wow, that's amazing right there. And a lot of people don't hear that side of things. Q, talk to me. I mean, we played together and met playing in the Arena Football League. Was that difficult for you, man, to wait for somebody to give you a call year after year?
I mean, nah, man. I mean, it's if you want to ball, you want to ball. So it's one of those things. Like my man said, you just have to. It takes some type of self-discipline. I mean, this is football anyway. So I mean, in my personal opinion, you need to always be where you need to stay ready anyway. I tell these young kids that all the time. I mean, a perfect example, not on the professional level, but this is his period. I'm talking is look at University of Kansas, man. Right now we're 7-3. We're playing with our third string quarterback, third, and he's a freshman. But he had to be. You have to be ready. That I've never even. I mean, y'all tell me when's the last time you seen a Power 5 school balling with a third string quarterback out of necessity? Yeah. I haven't seen that in. If ever, you see what I'm saying? But that's the nature of football. So whether you're playing high school, college, or whatever, and it's in regards to injury, or it's college that you getting a shot, at the league or whatever the case may be, if it's football, you always got to. If you're not at where you want to be, then you always got to be ready for that opportunity, man.
No, that's a great point right there. You guys aren't playing tennis, basketball. You're literally next man up. And then just like Dee said, when you get your shot, you don't want them to say, I told you so. He wasn't ready. You got to be ready for that shot. So I appreciate you guys. And I think we've all been in that situation professionally, waiting by the phone. So that's a real deal. On to our next topic, you guys. And I see some special people joining in on the chat. We've got Dee Maggit saying, checking in. What up, nephew? And thank you for joining us. Of course, we've got the great Jimmy Rucker saying, love those old rainbow uniforms. Yeah, everybody crazy, loves those. And then Shirley Love says, I'm so proud of him. I wanted him to leave Washington. It was breaks. And when he came home, made me nervous. So there you go. That's what you were talking about. People wanted you to go to better, greener pastures and make some big things happen. So good to see you guys. Thank you for joining us and appreciate you. We're on to our next topic, you guys. And once again, if this is the first time popping in the locker room, all of the topics are on the bottom. This one caught my attention. Obviously, a lot of us watched the Bills versus the Broncos Monday night game. I know my mother-in-law's in here. She was happy from Denver. But as soon as the game was over, you guys, Ken Dorsey, the OC, and obviously the Bills offense has been having some issues. But Ken Dorsey, they said, no need to come back to your job, brother. No need to come back. We're going to choose somebody else for the rest of the season. So let me ask you, Q, how much, when you really look, man, at the X's and the O's, we're all football people, how much of the non-production on offense or the non-production on defense, in your opinion, really falls on the coordinator?
Oh, a ton of it. A ton of it, man. I mean, again, I got to go back to my alma mater. I mean, we've been in the poll pretty much all season, the majority of the season with our backup quarterback. Like I said, we're on our third string now, but our backup quarterback, but we have a great offensive coordinator. And if you notice, of course, they've had Tom Brady, but I mean, man, the Patriots have been notorious for that. They got a great pay caller up in the box. So, of course, you got to go to the trigger. But coordinators mean a lot, man, because great coordinators, man, you can take mediocre, average players at best, and you can still really, man, put up a fight, man, in this sport if you're really knowing your X's and O's, knowing what you got, man, and really putting in the right calls. So that means
talk to me, D. I mean, obviously, you were in the Mountain West. They're throwing the ball all over the place, man. How many times did you sit back in the locker room after the game and say, dang, the DC messed us over, or dang, DC was on it today? What's your feelings? How much is the DC, how much credit or blame should the DC get, or the OC?
So I actually got a two-part answer to that, because we had an offensive play caller change, and it completely messed with our season. So Hawaii is traditionally run and shoot. Timmy Chang, Colt Brennan, we're throwing for thousands of yards. We get a new offensive coordinator, Norm Chow. So Norm Chow was USC, Matt Leinart, and Reggie Bush. And so he's running prototypical pro-style offense that worked for them, tries to come to Hawaii and instill that same system. We don't have Reggie Bush. We don't have Matt Leinart. We don't have
Right.
Steve Smith. We don't have 6'5"
personnel.
prototypical.
Yeah.
We don't have the personnel. So, you know, we have, you know, kind of a pass happy scheme with passing old linemen. So they're stepping back. They're not really going forward.
Rolling downhill, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have scat backs. So we have short, quick slot receivers. We don't have true number ones who can be outside and beat, you know, prototypical
double coverage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
It just didn't work, you know, and we actually had the worst offensive season that Hawaii had in my time there. So in that instance, it matters because, you know, you can't, you know, make a circle fit, or you can't make a square fit into a circle. You got to go with your personnel. So in that instance, it really does matter what kind of offense you're running. And then on the defensive side, as a player individually, what scheme you're running could definitely affect your production. So for instance, my best season was when we were just playing straight man to man. I had a low IQ compared to what I have now, compared to where I should have been as a college player. So you're telling me every single play, the only thing, I don't have to worry about checks, I don't have to worry about formations, I don't have to worry about splits. I just have to worry about staying in front of my guy. So I had the most productive season of my career in straight man to man.
Yep.
You go to a quarter system where I don't care how much man you can play, or that you can lock a guy up, because I believe in my scheme. The players that are going to play are the ones who can fit into my scheme. Can you identify when we need to go from cover 3 to cover 2, and we're combo coverage in, we're doing this versus empty, we're doing this versus that. And so it slowed me down. So from a individual perspective, the defense definitely matters, because some guys just can't process information, but they can line up and man up. Some coaches want that, some coaches don't want that. As far as scheme, when it comes to just the overall success of the defense, defense matters tremendously, because offenses are so explosive now. So you can easily get out schemed, out coached in the college game, because they're doing so much. And so if you're not preparing correctly, or if you're not training the DB's eyes correctly, so now, you know, you go from reading the tackle to now you can't even read the tackle, because the tackle could be pulling on a pass play. So it's like now it takes the now, because the schemes are so
advanced,
sophisticated, you really have to make sure as a DC you know what you're doing. So I would say on the percentage level, I would say now in college football, it's 70% how you're prepared, and the other 30% is just being an athlete.
Wow. Okay, that's big right there.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Q.
I was about to say, but you got to think, if that's college, then the league is more 80-20. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, in Ken Dorsey's plays, I mean, you know, in this situation with the Bills, I mean, as you can see, you know, my man, Agent Fletcher, I mean, man, his client list is a lot of these coordinators that we talking about. So, yeah, man, it's one of those things where, man, you can offensively now, it's so complicated, man. I mean, I couldn't imagine these playbooks, man. Offensive playbooks now got to look like a Hebrew Bible. They got to, you know. So I don't even know how they process all of that, man. But I mean, for him to get let go, man, you know, I mean, I'm sure he'll find another job, but man, the coordinator is a big deal, man.
And the great Jimmy Rucker is saying that they're going to think maybe the Giants will scoop him up. And then the aforementioned, the great sports agent Fletcher says, you gentlemen always bringing strong content, relevant topics to the table. Deeply appreciate the show platform. Congratulations. We appreciate you, Agent Fletcher. We got Alicia Majid coming in saying, okay, nephew, we see you. And then, of course, out of Texas, San Antonio, we got the Munoz family. So thank all of you guys for joining us tremendously. And great topics for you guys. These are real deal, trending right now, and things that a lot of you young athletes that are watching can learn from. So this one was one that obviously caught my attention as a coach. And I know you guys have coached in the past, but we've got the great pickings from the Steelers, George Pickens, Georgia fame. And he's not too happy, you guys. He's not too happy with the balls and the looks and how many targets he's getting. And he's starting to get out there and voice his opinion. He recently, as you guys see right here, disassociated himself with the social media for the Steelers. Right here, you got the great Hines Ward saying, it's not about you, George. It's not about you. You're a bad man, but it's not about you. So I want to go to you, Dee. Talk to me a little bit about a young superstar who's obviously passionate. If you're a coach, is this a big deal to you, or is this something that, hey, superstars are going to be superstars, I'm going to let it ride, see if I can get them the ball more?
It really just depends on the level. If we're talking about pro, this is just standard behavior. And fortunately or unfortunately, it seems as though at the pro level, you're not really going to be penalized as far as your next contract, as far as like your current team, if you're a superstar. If you're a kid watching it, I would say college or below is just not going to fly because your coaches have so much power over your destiny versus in the pro level. Other teams are looking at this and they're already, preparing trades. They're already ready to get them up out of there. I would say as a teammate, just from a pure teammate perspective, some guys are going to, I'm not going to say allow it, but some guys aren't going to say anything. But your coaches and your players are definitely looking at it. They're definitely labeling you a certain way. But I would say, if you're in college, that is the quickest way to be on the bench for, 4 years. If you're in high school, like I said, your coach has so much power over your recruiting. That's the quickest way to not get a scholarship offer. But at the pro level, you've seen it all the way from Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was probably 10 times worse and got 3 extra opportunities and 2 major contracts out of it. So I would say with that standard, this is just, this is par for the course right now. And, he's a very talented individual. He's looking at all the greats and he's associating his skill with Jamar Chase and, everybody who's getting all these accolades, and he wants that as well. Obviously, his quarterback isn't allowing him to be the player he wants to be. But like I said, in the NFL, it's pretty normal behavior, whether it's good or bad from your perspective.
Now, that's great feedback right there.
Yeah.
Q, talk to me because I feel like when I was in college, man, I didn't speak up enough. Where now maybe the coach was thinking I don't care because I'm not speaking up when I'm feeling like I'm being pushed to the back burner.
Right.
What should George Pickens do for these young athletes listening? What should George pick? He's a baller, but I'm not getting the ball. What should I do, Q?
Right. It's like this, man. I'm not saying to not speak up, but again, that's what you have an agent for. If we need a trade and we don't like it, we keep that behind closed doors. We play chess and we let my agent get me up out of there if I'm not getting the ball or it's hurting me. It might be a situation where he has an incentive-laden contract where, hey, I need this 1,000 yards receiving in order to get this extra 2.5. And I'm not getting the ball, or I need 10 or more TDs in order to get this extra bonus money. So a lot of times, guys, it's those type of situations with incentives within their contract, but the media will make it look like that they're just being greedy and selfish. So don't get me wrong, there are guys like that. I mean, but you talk to a number of former players, retired or not, that do have, contracts with incentives. Obviously, your agent wants to get you with a contract that's, as the absolute minimum on as far as incentives, but you still want to hit those incentives. So depending on your position, wide receiver, especially, skill position, wide receiver, running back, you need the ball.
It's interesting because those are usually the positions where you see guys speaking up.
But that's
running back, wide receiver.
Yeah, and what in the dirty part of the game on the professional level, I'm sure Agent Fletcher will attest, is they won't give you the ball on purpose. Look. I've talked to NFL running backs that need 1,000 yards in order to get a bonus, and they'll be at 900 and some change and not get the ball the rest of the season, and they'll be in week 10, week 11, and all of a sudden they start airing it out, and you don't get any carries. Because you do understand they want to pay you the least amount possible. Now that is the goal. You can't.
If they feel they can win without you,
exactly. Well, even if they gotta win with you, they still want to pay you the least amount. You have to have a great agent in order to get your money. You do have the ball, but you need the ball in order to do what you do. You see what I mean? So. I mean, yeah, man, I don't blame him, but I feel like that, you need to be vocal up until a point. From that point, you need to let your agent do what he does. And if I'm not getting the ball, then yeah, go ahead and get me up out of here. My services will be needed somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, I didn't even think about it from that perspective. It's definitely true. Yeah. I definitely have NFL guys who've told me, hey, once you're this close to an incentive, if they can, save money, they'll definitely save money, because I believe Pickens is a top 5 talent at the receiver position.
He is. For sure he is.
Yeah. For sure. And I expected him to go off this year, because he was absolutely a viral sensation in terms of training camp and preseason. So for him to not reach that level, I know he's I definitely understand why he's upset about it. It just it's the media's job to create things for us to talk about.
Right.
So True. They're not necessarily, they're not necessarily going to lay it out to where you understand it. It's just easier to just, call it for what it is, label him as another selfish receiver.
Yep, absolutely. And you just automatically get that TO stamp, and he's one of those guys. And like I said, nobody sees but nobody sees that paperwork but them, you, and your agent. That's it. Those are the only ones that know. So I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, man, a lot of times that's what it is. Don't let it fool you. These boys need that ball. They need it.
Yep. No, great feedback right there, you guys. And you guys heard D. If you're a younger player, you got to play your cards right, because those coaches do have major pull over your situation. We're on to our next topic, you guys, and thank you if you're joining us live. We appreciate you. I'm Coach Wood, Q the Guru on the far right, and then, of course, we have the great Dee Maggit, who played at Hawaii, played professionally. He's helping the next generation get to where they want to go. So definitely appreciate your time, Dee. We're on to our next topic, you guys, and this is your technique education. Obviously, you're a subject matter expert on playing some DB, and have played high level, and you've turned that into a business. Right now, you're in Japan. You're traveling, teaching people. Amazing footprint on social media where people are checking out your DB technique films. And I just wanted to bring it up for audiences. Once again, you never know where football can take you. What made you get into starting to educate on the skill of DB?
Oh man, I was walking through the streets of Europe, and
damn,
yeah, you just
start. Right,
yeah,
right. Walking through the streets of Detroit. He said,
yeah, and I put the seriousness of football behind me. I was like, okay, I'm on to the next chapter. What have I always wanted to do before I wanted to go to the NFL? And I was like, travel the world, see Europe. So I was in that phase. And then I'm on social media, and then every time I would look on social media, you see this is like when wide receiver and speed and footwork and all that stuff was popping off. So goal feet and releases, and so all you see is DBs. The bad side of DB play. Receivers burning them this way, DB's falling down. And then I'm looking at the comments, and it's like, oh, that DB's trash, that DB's trash, that DB's trash. But nobody's giving constructive criticism. So it was just bothering me, because I'm like, well, that receiver wasn't that good. All the DB needed to do was step here. All he needed to do was keep his eyes here. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So I just start commenting on all these different pages. Like, hey, the DB should have did this, the DB should have did that. And then I had someone reach out to me and say, hey man, like you're one of the only ones I see that are actually giving constructive comments, not just saying the DB's trash. Have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? And at the time he's doing a receiver platform, huge platform. And so he's like, hey man, if you make the content, I'll show you the ropes in terms of how to post, when to post, captions, because it is an algorithm when it comes to the social media thing. It's not about what you're saying in terms of followers. And I'm not really big on followers, but in today's world, followers is respect. Followers gets people to listen to you. So it does matter in that aspect of, hey, I'm gonna listen to this guy who has this many followers versus this guy who has this many followers. So, but yeah, so I just started doing that. Just started making videos to correct bad technique, and then it started to become a therapy to me because I'm correcting myself for all the mistakes I made in college. So in college, I would say I just wasn't prepared. I didn't decide that I wanted to be a DB until I got to Hawaii. So a lot of people don't understand that I was a receiver. But because I was offered a scholarship as a receiver, but because my coach didn't play me at receiver my senior year, Hawaii was like, well, all you've been playing is DB. You're an athlete. You get labeled an athlete. So why don't you just play DB for us? So I was learning on the job at Hawaii.
At a high level.
Yet at a high level. So I prided myself on learning fast and not making the same mistakes. But so I would quickly correct my mistakes, but then I would be presented with a new situation in game. So I didn't do 7-on-7. I wasn't in these situations where when that ball's in the air, like, what do I do? Like, what tool do I pull out of my toolbox? If I get a speed release, how am I stepping? So it was all literally learning on the go. And I had to make adjustments on the fly, literally mid-game, standing in front of Devontae Adams, had no idea about leverage, had no idea about down this, just playing, literally just playing. And then so when I didn't make the league, it was a mixture of, dang, like I really was talented enough to go. This guy went, I locked him up. This guy went, I locked him up. I just wasn't ready. And it was the little things. So I was like, all right, like, so let me just give back all the little things that I wish I would have known. Footwork, splits, alignment, formation,
all
time,
IQ stuff,
all IQ stuff that I had to literally learn on the fly. And then so, kids from all over the world are, man, thank you. And then I didn't really know, it was going to be as big as it was until NFL guys start reaching out to me and saying, hey, man, like, you could coach in the NFL. Like, 9 times out of 10, it's the coach's daughter's husband who's coaching, who's the assistant DB coach. Like, it's not, they're not teaching us anything new. You can coach in the NFL. Like, have you ever tried, is that what you want to do? Do you want to coach in college? And then so that feedback made me go harder. Or like, okay, I'm actually on to something.
Helping people.
Yeah, it was never to impress, to get followers. I just was I feel like nobody was sticking up for the DBs. And then for me, it's therapy to kind of give back to someone who is watching at a younger level, and if it can help them progress. And I know that was the one piece that was missing from my game, was the IQ level. And that's definitely what keeps me going, is trying to, I guess, raise the next generation of DB.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And like you said, it's getting more sophisticated on the offensive side. So you better know all the little tips and tricks you can get to not get roasted out there. So that's fabulous. And if you guys are into learning more about the art of playing defensive back, definitely check out Dee's content. The DB_network on Instagram. He's on Twitter. He's got stuff on YouTube. So amazing technique,
Definitely.
advice, tips that he gives almost every single day, you guys. So definitely tap into that. And then you guys see it's taking him all the way to Japan. He's teaching people in Japan now. So it's absolutely amazing. And we appreciate you sharing that. We're on to our next topic, you guys. And obviously appreciate Dee's time, but it's time to get into the lightning round. And the lightning round is one of the favorite portions of our show for many of our avid listeners. This is our guys to pick our host through our guest, through a little gauntlet where we get to see what's on his mind, some of the things he's thinking about. He's got 60 seconds. So this is our version of word association. We're going to make him sweat a little bit, but I've got some great questions and some things on my mind that I want to see how you respond to, D. So we're going to get into it, and I'm going to get the stopwatch ready. And obviously this gentleman is pretty fast if he was playing DB and didn't even know his technique. So we're going to see how fast he is on this stopwatch. I'm going to set him to 0. And we don't do this for fun, D. The number is 15. 15 is the number you're trying to get to. You get 1 for tech delay. And then if you can get to 15, then it's a dinner on the locker room show. Okay.
Oh.
Another dinner. Japan, I don't know what the prices are hitting for. It might be a little expensive out there in Japan. But, it's a dinner on us. So are you ready to go, big dog?
I'm ready.
Cool.
All right. So first thing that comes to your mind, just a little tip. Don't try to elaborate. You're going to go faster with the one word phrases. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got him at 0, and we're about to get started. The lightning round, y'all. The lightning.
Here we go.
All right. Number 1. Once again, 60 seconds. We're going to see how fast he can go. The number's 15. He's got 1 for tech delay. All right. So number 1. First thing that comes to your mind. Lakes High School, go.
Lancers.
Enchiladas or burritos?
Burrito.
Norm Chow.
Old head.
Sauce Gardner or Pat Surtain?
Pat Surtain.
Best player you ever played against?
Derek Carr.
Moped or go-kart?
Ooh, go-kart.
Nachos with chili or plain nachos?
Chili.
Caleb Williams.
Underrated.
Deion Sanders.
Prime.
Little Kim or Nicki Minaj?
Nicki Minaj.
50 seconds. John Madden. He's rolling.
EA Sports.
Yogurt or Jell-O?
Jell-O.
Time.
He might have got that one.
All right, so we're gonna. Okay, he was rolling.
Be close.
We're gonna count these up. We're gonna
Wasn't
count
no
these
false
up. Now,
steps.
keep in mind, there's no false steps. He's on his technique. He's on his game, y'all. So keep this in mind. We're gonna count these up, but he gets 1 for tech delay. So even 14, he's in the mix, okay? But 15 is a number, and then we'll revisit as we always do some of these answers. So we got Lakes for 1. Okay, we got Burrito 2. We got Norm Chow 3. We got Pat Surtain 4. We got Derek Carr 5. We got Go-Kart 6. We got Nachos with Chili 7. We got Caleb Williams. We got Deion Sanders 9. We got Nicki Minaj 10. We got John Madden 11. We got Jell-O for the 12. And with the tech delay, he's got 13. He's got 13. Yeah. It's no joke. It's no 15. It's no joke. So that's good. But let's revisit a couple of these. Of course, Lakes High School. That's where he went to in Washington. Good high school there. He's going with the burrito, you guys, over the enchiladas. Norm Chow. I'm sensing you're not the biggest fan of Norm Chow. He's going with the Pat Surtain over Sauce Gardner, huh? That would surprise a lot of people.
Not really. I'm gonna
this
go
is
ahead.
The technique,
I'll tell you why I think the technique,
man.
Exactly.
So talk to us.
Exactly.
So yeah, it goes off of technique. I think Sauce although he didn't give up as many touchdowns, there were a lot of plays that could have gone either way with the hands. He was real grabby his rookie year. But Pat Surtain, his technique, I think, is bar none the top of the league.
It is.
And then so if I'm a coach, now that I'm a coach, and if I'm picking a guy, I want the guy who I feel like is gonna whose technique is going to be there consistently. And my coach always told me that technique is going to keep you around.
There you go. And so some of you young cats playing DB might want to start watching some Pat Surtain right there. He says Caleb Williams, who could possibly, well, probably not now, but was up for 2 Heismans. You saying he's underrated, huh?
The reason why I say underrated is because I don't think people understand what pressure can, and the stress that pressure can bring to you. Me personally, going through it, pressure makes you tired, or stress makes you tired. Stress makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Stress wears on your focus. So for him to, from day one have those pressures that I have to be the best player, I have to be the #1 draft pick all off season, and then hold that status throughout the season. I think anyone who's had to deal with pressure doesn't understand how tough that is to keep it all together. So I'm just thinking, I went straight to his mentality,
the whole
and
picture.
What it takes to maintain that status when everyone is gonna pick apart everything you do every second of your life. And I just know what pressure did for me. My first start versus a Blitnikoff winner. I'm like, man, I'm tired in warmups, like I'm not making my checks as clean. The game was just faster, like everything. And I'm like, man, like it's the pressure. But if you were to put that same guy in front of me in practice, it's easy, So I think people definitely underestimate pressure and the stress and what it can do to your performance. And for him to maintain that level, win or loss, I salute that.
Great feedback right there. And then he's going with the Jello over the yogurt, y'all. And we got, I think, family member Shirley Love says -1 point. He should have went with the little Kim over the Nicki Minaj. So we got
generation.
a little
It just
fan.
depends.
There you go. So appreciate you having fun with us, man. And that's the lightning round. Everybody has fun with the lightning round. And we're ending up our time here, but we do have the comment section open, you guys. So if you do have a question, maybe you're an athlete with a question, a parent with a question, maybe you're a family member wondering something about D, put it in the comment section right now. But I know, Q, you got something for our guest.
Definitely. So my question for the evening was, you're in Japan, and we've had this discussion before on previous episodes. Where do you see the game evolving? Because we see it like little by little starting to grow globally. So what are you seeing over there, and where do you see the game globally in the next few years?
I would say people have no idea the impact or the expansion that the NFL is looking to do globally. So there's going to be situations where they're going to reserve 5 roster spots for international players. So now the opportunities,
kind of like Canada.
The opportunities for Americans are going to be less and less. Because think about it.
Think of that.
Ohtani playing for LA brings an entire country versus the last man on a roster. He's probably going to bring 5 family members to watch the game.
Wow.
I get this Japanese player in. That's 50 million people in Japan. And I'm probably underselling. I know Tokyo is the biggest city in the world, 37 million people.
Yeah.
I signed this Japanese guy who may not even play.
That's a lot of jerseys, boy.
Yeah. He may not even play, but there's plenty of people not playing. Anybody can run down on special teams four times a game, but how many of those people are going to bring an entire country with them? And then you look in Europe. There's no coincidence that they're putting game after game after game in Europe. So they have this thing called the NFL Academy. The NFL Academy started a school at IMG in London, where the best players from Europe go and play at this academy.
Wow.
So they're actively putting bases in different countries that I've seen that Americans have no idea what's coming. So I would say in the next 5 years, don't be surprised if every roster has an NFL player, because again, like London market, I get the entire London market with one player signed. I get the entire German market with one player signed. They don't have to play, but like you said, that's tons of jerseys. So being over here, I've met with execs, I've met with NFL alumni who have told me Roger Goodell's is really trying to get his international. They're in Mexico. They got Mexican players.
Oh,
There's no coincidence. There's no coincidence
that in Mexico too.
Yeah. So if you think about it, their last game in Mexico, is it a coincidence that one of the only Mexican players in the NFL happened to be on that team that went to Mexico? So it's
right.
Yeah. So
it's calculated.
It's calculated, and I can tell you that an international player's worth, we're talking about last man on roster. We're talking about practice, is worth 100 times more than a guy who, again, is not really going to
Sacramento State or something.
Yeah, he's not really going to move the needle. So if I'm going to sign a guy who's not going to play anyway, why not sign a guy who's going to bring a country with him? So that's what I've seen with my own eyes and heard from the league office, that the NFL is looking to go global, and they're not just looking to play games in places. They're looking to bring people on rosters to increase value.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that totally makes sense, man. I mean, you're getting the top player from over there, just like the NBA when they bring over people, they bring the whole country. You get Jokic or something, So, and there is some talent, and so you kids in the States, there's going to be other people trying to get your job from other countries soon too. So you guys better keep your game up. Yeah. We've got the great David Walker. This is one of my babies. And for those that don't know, we're not just a show. We actually work with student athletes before you go pro. But David Walker is a great lineman, probably a Division I lineman. He says your first college game was more nerve-wracking trying to do your job properly or being nervous about the massive stadium.
Man, that's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question.
I'll let you go first. I Go ahead.
Yeah. I would say it was twofold. It was both for me. So it was trying to do my job properly, but then when I got in the stadium, I couldn't. It was hard to block out how big the environment was. So usually when I'm playing football, you're looking at, people are in the stands. It's to the left and to the right. Like you're not like I'm in a bowl and it's going up, and I can't block out that I see people in the background. So it was like, it felt like I was playing on a platform. You know how like sometimes in the NCAA tournament they play on like those elevated courts. It felt like I was on a platform, so I had to kind of get that out of my head. Like, hey man, like you're in a game. Like these guys are running at you. So it was and that was USC. That was USC. They were ranked number 1 in the country at the time. Had Robert Woods, had Matt Barkley, had
I remember.
I watched that game.
Yep. Biletnikovs and all that other stuff. So it was that, but then once you can get past that, it's doing your job. But so it was 2 for me.
What about you, Q? The very first time playing for Kansas was, obviously we were all nervous. Anybody saying they weren't is lying. Was it more the stage, or was it more trying to make sure you were doing the right thing?
Man, I wasn't worried about doing the right thing so much. I guess because, man, with my high school and so many guys that were from the league and Division I players, like we saw that every summer through high school. It was the noise. That's what I had to get in tune to. Because I remember my first game as a freshman, and we playing A&M, and they, that top 5 for sure. That was back when they, had like Dat Win and all those guys. So I mean, I remember I'm lining up, and I'm like, damn, that's Dante Hall. Shit. So, because you 17 years old, so
You got
sometimes it's like
watching.
when you're a freshman, it's sometimes a little bit like you got to get that starstruck out of your head too. Like, damn, because you might have, if they're older than you, you like, damn, I just saw my man last season, you in your mom's house watching them ball. Like, now you lining up on them. Like, damn. So, yeah, man, it's if you can get past that, man, I'd say the noise, man, a lot of cases, man. And Boulder, you got to make adjustments, man. You go up there, man, hell, you warming up and can't breathe. Everybody on oxygen tank. So it's a lot of adjustments, man, depending on where you at. Nebraska was rough. So yeah, man. Yeah, those stadiums.
It's just something that you go through as a young buck. Yeah.
Definitely.
And you'll get used to it, Big Dave, because you're going to play at that level, man. So you'll get used to it. We've got Shirley Love coming back on. She says, what's your best advice for parents trying to get their kids on an elite level at an elementary level? Do you think that, Dee, that they should be waiting a little bit longer? Or do you think it does have to start that young?
I think no matter what age you're starting, they have to do multiple sports. Do multiple sports. Because again, like when I told you I wasn't prepared, I still got there, so how did I get there? How did I get to start without knowing any IQ? It was basketball. Playing press. When you're pressing in basketball, you're staying in front of a guy, you're staying square, you're reading his midline, you're jumping. So like I realized my vertical jump increased playing basketball. And I didn't really make those same gains playing football because you're not jumping. You're just flat out not jumping. Basketball, you're jumping every 10 seconds. Rebound, you're reading the ball off the rim. You're high pointing. It all carries over. So I got my skill from playing basketball in terms of my position. And then you see guys just specializing too early. Just play the sport, stay athletic. And then I would say you have to let them just let them play. Like you don't want to be too involved with the yelling, with the coaches not doing this, coaches aren't doing that, because their natural ability will come out at the right time. Mine did. Some guys will peak in elementary school, some guys will peak in middle school, and then you just kind of have to let it play out. But the one thing that I would say that you want to parent is the mentality towards adversity, the mentality towards practice, the mentality towards sportsmanship, because that you can the quitting, the bad attitude, and all that. That's something that I think a parent can definitely be hands-on with without overstepping the coach and making it all about winning. I never won a championship at any level in football, like ever in elementary. But taking those losses and showing up to practice in the rain the next Monday, that built my character. So I would say that's what I would focus on at that age, is the character, the mindset. Let everything else kind of play out.
Okay. Yeah. Now, as far as coaches, maybe getting a quarterback coach or a DB coach, what do you guys think? And I'll start with you, Q, as far as when that should come into play. How young is or what's the right age where maybe I need to look at a coach for my son outside of his coach?
I would say beyond elementary. I mean, because these kids, man, they're nowhere near developed. I mean, how many kids have we had where, you talk to and you're like, I mean, even on the show that are pros now have been like, man, like you were running back. Like, man, I remember when I was a lineman, so it's too much that changes. Kids change. If you're a parent, kids change from summer to summer, big time, especially over the summer. You see kids gain, 2-3 inches over a summer. So it's one of those things, like my man said, let the kids play, let them learn different positions. It's one of those things now. Well, what if I in high school and I'm starting to actually, grow into my body and I end up being a quarterback, but in Pop Warner, I played lineman. Well, damn, I understand pass protection better. You see what I'm saying? So let them play different positions and then just grow up. Don't take the fun out of the game. And at the top of the list, like you said, I have to reiterate, let them play multiple sports. And we see that with generations now. Everything is football, football, football. Don't get me wrong. We love the sport, but other sports will help you develop into being a better overall athlete and being ultimately a better football player. I say this all the time. Even myself, I never played no Pop Warner, no nothing, and went from just playing soccer and baseball to a blue chip All-American. Why? Same reason Ocho, same reason Odell, especially with soccer, because if you can control your feet, DB is a breeze. If you can control your feet, running back and wide receiver is a breeze, because that, especially that game, you have complete control of your feet. You tell me a sport where you do not need your feet. I've never seen a sport with no feet. You can't play with no feet. So it translates. It all translates, man.
Great advice right there. And we got Shirley saying good stuff. We've got the great coach Eric Foss. His son was playing at Nicholls State tonight. They're winning a league championship there. He says great advice. So we appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your opinions and advice. So, amazing feedback, man, and commentary.
Yeah,
and we appreciate your time, D. And I know you're in Japan, man. So safe travels. Congrats on the new child. And keep up the great service, man. Keep teaching these next generation of DBs.
Definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. The international, for all you guys who, maybe in college, start looking at the international level. You can make some good money. I know guys making $100,000 playing football overseas. So, if you think that the NFL it's NFL or nothing, I will say that there is a way for you to play meaningful football, get paid, see the world. So if you want to know anything about that, you could definitely hit me up. I got some light connections, but again, these coaches, especially over here, you're dealing with a different culture. So your character is 100% what they're looking at. So a lot of guys aren't able to make it because all they're focused on is, themselves. They're not interested in ingratiating themselves within the culture. And over here, you're going to be successful. You're going to be a star. But what keeps you around is, are you willing to learn the language? Are you willing to coach the youth? Are you willing to coach adults? Because they don't know anything either. They're getting all their information off of YouTube. So right now I'm coaching coaches.
Right.
So
right.
So I'm a freelance. I'm pretty much a freelance kind of coach right now.
You Nick Saban, Bill Belichick in
Japan.
Yeah.
So you can so there is life after NFL, life after CFL that is very fruitful. So don't football will bring you places that you would never. I would have never imagined I'd be in this position. Not in a million years.
Facts. That's what's up.
That is amazing now, man. And for the people that do want to reach out to you, what's the best platform?
They can reach out to my Instagram. I'm on there a lot. If you guys have any questions, I try to get back to you as much as I can. Again, I do it for whoever needs it. It's not really for me anymore. It's just I know that I would be in such a different place had I had someone like me. So I know that DB, good quality DB coaching is hard to come by. So I'm in a small niche, but that's probably why it's so popular, because it's hard to find guys who really know what they're talking about. So I appreciate the support.
There you go. Well, hey, man, keep up the great work. There you guys go. We're always bringing in the best of the best, even some people that you might not know of. But when you get a chance to meet them, you get that value. You get that value and that fruit. And D is one of those people. So, D, hey, have a great day, man. And we appreciate you, brother.
You as well. I appreciate you both. Take care.
All right. All right, you guys. So, hey, another great episode. He's doing big thing, man. He's saying they're making 100,000 overseas,
Yeah,
Q.
man.
Can you picture 22 playing in Italy or something, man?
Hey, man, I mean, man, the sport is growing, man. That's why I asked what I asked. The sport is growing by leaps and bounds. And the thing is when you look at the grand scheme of things, the NFL is already popular with NFL Europe. I don't know why they discontinued what they had in the first place, but the fan base never dispersed. The fan base was it was still there. So now that they're rekindling, opportunities, man, it's gonna catch back on like wildfire, man. Because
that was our era. So some of those kids who might have went to the game might have been young kids that are now
exactly
ready to go.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Because NFL Europe was huge. Guys were getting opportunities, and it was, it was a good fit. So they need to get that back going.
And I can totally see what he's talking about. I didn't even think about it. But for those that don't know, we were guys that had shots in Canada. I went up to Hamilton. I know that Q had opportunities too.
Yeah.
In Canada, they have a quota on how many Americans can be on the team.
Right.
They definitely want some Americans, because then you can get the Doug Flutys and the Rocket Ishmaels and some of those people. That you want some of that American exposure, but they cap it. And I could totally see what he was talking about, man, where we've got mandated spots just for foreign players.
Yeah. And I mean, again, man, it's the same thing. I mean, with the NBA, man. I mean, it's, to me, if you look at the NBA, that's almost what's damn near keeping them relevant. Is their international players, man. I mean, joking and the rest of these guys, they're among the best in the league.
Luka,
yeah, they're among the best in the league. I mean, so it's like, it's never where we just, it's just us. I mean, it's all it's finding talent. But what does that spell, T? That spells more money for opportunities to kids to be scouts. Now you get to see the world. Now you a scout for the Cardinals or the Panthers or the Jags, but you traveling internationally looking at. You're not just stopping at the Power 5 and all the universities. Now you going internationally looking for talent to bring it back. That's dope.
Point. And there is talent, man. You guys. There is talent.
I promise.
Don't get it twisted. There is talent outside of the country.
Took some of them sumo wrestlers and make an old lineman. I'm telling you, y'all playing. I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, that is another great episode of the Locker Room Show, you guys. Hopefully you gained value tonight. I know you did. And then please come back next Thursday, because every single Thursday we bring you some of that football sauce, which is guaranteed to get you on another plateau than the next person, okay? And we're bringing in the best of the best. We got people lined up that you don't even know that's ready to come on in the show, and they want to come on in the show and feed into you. So hopefully you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you tell your friends, you tell your teammates, your coaches. And then for those out there that do feel like they need a little bit of recruiting support, we got you covered there too. You can go to www.beforeyougopro.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, hit the sign up link, and you guys will get more information about what we do for college football prospects across the country. Okay, so hopefully you guys enjoyed tonight. I'm your host, Coach Wood. That is Q, the Guru. You guys go watch some football, and we'll see you at the top. Have a good one.